the answer. Yeah. I'm pretty good at repeating myself. Yeah, basically, what I'm saying is, because I'm always saying, you know, I've realised what the problem is, and really I shouldn't be saying I realise what the solution is, but the first thing we see is a problem, and that then takes us to the solution. So it's not that you can't ever say there's a problem, you know, and you're solipsistic, you're stuck in a mindset where you can never see problems, as some people think, you know, the working class, for example, are over the benefit situation. But going back to what I was saying before about that, you know, the arguments I've been seeing that people have, it's a common thing. You see it on TV, you see it in the movies. It's like, this is how to have an argument, and people are well versed these days through Coronation Street and indoctrinated.
That's all everyone ever does.
Jeremy Kyle.
The amount of fuckery that goes on in one episode of Coronation Street, I tell you what, I've not had half of that in my whole life. From one, you know, like one person, just because they make it up, just to fucking what?
Yeah.
What's wrong with fucking telling stories that are fucking stories of other things going on in them, like, you know what I mean? That are interesting, that aren't negative. Everything's got to be a negative. Always, all the fucking time, and that's just like, you know, after a while, you realise that we're doing this for a fucking reason, you know.
We are. There's a psychology. The Matrix tried to show us in a film way, and I think it kind of succeeded for those that was awake. Everybody's been given a program, and when you think you're resisting the program, you're still actually following the program, because every concept we have, every idea.
And then it becomes like, actually, culturally, if you're having a nice time, then you fucking, it's escapism, and you're not fucking living in the real world.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's what I'm fucking all about, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But, you know, like Alan Watt was saying in that thing we was listening to the other day, about concepts and notions and these things that are, you know, they're just constructs that we've invented so that we can have a way of convening things. You know, we've created time which doesn't really exist. He talks about rhythm, yeah? And music and rhythm, obviously, they're very easy to talk about and to recognise the relationship, the patterns between music and rhythm, but to recognise the relationship between time and rhythm, because sometimes the rhythms are very far spaced apart, super bass, you know, super low frequency. It's a hum, as he put it, you know, and ah and and all of that stuff that, you know, people use.
We talked about it a few times, you know, myself and other musicians when we've been talking about music, and basses in particular, like finding like the secret bass line, which is the thing that underpins the music, but not necessarily, you know, it might add to the melody or it might add to the rhythm or it might do both.
Yeah.
But, you know, you don't really notice it, but it's there and it's important, and if it's not there, you fucking notice it.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. I was talking to Gary yesterday about melody.
And that's what's missing in society. There's no fucking bass in society. It's all tops. It's all fucking treble, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Or digitised
treble crap getting fucking smashed into your face all the time. Like, this is the fucking shoes, right? Fucking your fucking
aggressive love. That's what they're promoting. Love. If you love your girl, you got to do it aggressively. It's like, yo, I love you, girl. Yeah, love me back. You know. What? Not like you said back in the day, people knew how to express and talk about love, and through that you had a teaching. Today you lack the teachings, the way of getting that message. But like I was saying, get back to these people having an argument. You know, one girl's there, she's got her work uniform on with the slogan on it, so you know where she's worked. I'm just pulling up. Next thing she's like, yeah, fucking dickhead, fuck off. So the young boy, he turns around, she's going off inside, he spins round, throws his bike down right in front of the door, the main entrance, so nobody can walk past, because, you know, for him, that's everything right now. That's the whole world. That's everything that's important. So even his bike, you know, someone could have just picked that up and just walked off with it. it was a nice bike. And at the very least, he could have damaged it the way he threw it down. Or he could have hurt somebody else who was walking through that door. You know, it's like his concern at that time was a selfish concern. Yeah, well, that's the selfish love.
He was passionate about it, wasn't he, obviously?
Yeah, but you've got to be careful. Passion.
Well, passion overrides common sense.
It can.
It overrides. Can override. Well, it's got the power to override all that shit.
It does have the power, but it doesn't always, because don't forget, you are more powerful than even that. How many times have you got in a rage and not smashed up your bedroom? You know, not punched a hole through the door, because we can control our anger. You know what I mean? But you realise as you get older.
Some ways of controlling your anger is also getting that off your chest, and it's like, no, sometimes it is better out than in. Yeah. Sometimes it is, because it'll just destroy you. Well, that's what it feels like.
A lot of people say to me, why do you talk, you know, about everything? Because talking, like you say, it relieves that stress, doesn't it? There's other ways other than the violent way of relieving the stress. And, you know, because of the teachings through media, mainstream games, video games, they say, oh, it doesn't have an effect. Everything has an effect. However, you don't always respond to that effect because you're not always in the environment, i.e., an argument or distress that brings that out of you. But since it's in you, it's easy to get to that because it's a form of language. It's a construct for our anger, and they're saying our society kind of glorifies it, but reviles it at the same time. If you're violent in a video game, you get glory. If you're violent in real life, you get shame. Yeah, and people bring in the TV attitude to real life. Obviously, it doesn't solve it, and obviously, we as outsiders to their argument, we can see that's just a bunch of words. That doesn't even have no effect on anybody else there, apart from the fact that we're kind of like, we're a bit upset with them. Why are you lowering your standards amongst all of us, the human race, in public? Because it's obvious you've got a problem now. But I could see certain things from the stereotyping that I was talking about. Looking at her, she's got a work uniform on, so clearly she's working. Looking at him, and the time of day it is, he's obviously not working today, but we could assume that he doesn't have a job right now. Which is why he's reacting like that.
Well, that's assumption, isn't it, straight away?
It is assumption.
You can't assume nothing.
It is assumption, but
why would you?
Well, because it allows you sometimes to be a bit more sympathetic. Because if you just judged him like he's like everybody else, and he's not entitled to his anger, first of all, that's part of a man's frustration.
Well, if a person's angry, they're angry, innit? You know what I mean? You can see when it's fucking genuine.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, their anger affects a whole community, if you will. The impact of it right there and then, it had physical impact and it had mental impact and spiritual impact. And it comes back to what you said.
Only briefly, though.
Well, yeah, because people didn't jump in and get involved, you know, like in Coronation Street. They didn't turn it to Jeremy Kyle, you know, but that in itself, Jeremy Kyle, an argument a day, 9 o'clock in the morning, it becomes part of a ritual, and these rituals people choose to do train them up a certain way. Like you said, you trained yourself on the ritual of playing old music.
I don't deny that, you know, people need an identity, and often they allow it to be given to them, you know what I mean, and stuff. But you know, you can give people identity by pigeonholing them as well, you know what I mean, and stuff. And identity of someone to you, not necessarily what they really are, you know what I mean. And it scares me when people say to me, you know, like, you should be more aware of how people look at you, you know what I mean, and perceive you. And I'm like, well, why should I give a fuck about what other people think perceive me? Why should I? Do you know what I mean? Because all that's going to do is hold me back. Even if they're positive, you know, if they're even slightly off.
Too much of it, I definitely agree.
If they're too much off with their judgment, then they're not, then they don't know me, and also it's going to fucking throw me off. So how do I keep my eyes on the road when people try to fucking distract me? You've got to do your thing, innit, man?
Yeah. Well, again, you talked about assumption before. Assumptions always assumption. You know, people don't know until they ask and get an answer, or they scientifically investigate and get as much of a definitive, finite answer as we can to any given situation.
Yeah, but I mean, look, you're I don't know if you're asking me to judge this situation or anything, but you know, I can't because it's all hearsay, isn't it? So I wasn't.
It's a hypothetical hearsay situation, but I see them every day, and I'm getting to the point. Like you say, the first thing I said was an assumption. Yes, I agree. I looked at him, and you know, you could say, oh, he's dressed like you, Jules. You know, he's got jogging bottoms on and trainers, and you was there at the same time, and you was on a bike, so you know, you could be talking about him. It's true. He could be on his day off. He might be a banker. He might have some what they call respectable job. Yeah. Again, that all those terminologies help to define us. If I feel that I'm in an unrespectable job, let's say I'm a cleaner and I minimum wage for everything. So it doesn't matter whether you're a cleaner or working at McDonald's. It's the same wage. So there is socially only an invention of why one is better than the other. Because money-wise,
it's a convention.
A convention, yeah. Social convention. That's the word.
And the thing is, it's a convention that you're more respectable if you're earning money from doing a shit job.
Yeah, well, someone said on the internet.
Because you're trying, you know. If you're doing that, you're trying, yeah.
But it's not just that. People praise somebody more for getting a job than, say, setting up their own business. And that's what I'm quoting up directly from what someone said on the internet. And it is true. And it's not just true in terms of the sense of, you know, you put it on the internet, oh, I got a job today, and everyone says, well done. It's true from the sense that those that are important and with you, i.e. your family, because having a job, you stop worrying about certain things, don't you? You don't have responsibilities after work for it to continue to work tomorrow. In a way, you're kind of like, oh, I hope work has a fire so I don't have to go in, or, you know, some people are like that. They haven't got it yet. They've not put themselves in a certain spiritual attitude to be able to cope with doing a 9 to 5. Now, doing a 9 to 5, it is a choice. It's who was talking to yesterday? They was talking to this guy about slavery. Yeah, he was just talking about everything's bad. The situation in general is bad. The government knows about this. Blah blah blah. You know what people usually talk about right now. Now they've woke up. And the only reason they've woke up is because they're feeling it financially in their pocket. Those that aren't feeling it financially in their pocket, they're oblivious to everything we say. You know, they know the price of things has gone up and they are struggling a bit more, but they're not at that level where it's a crisis to them. So therefore, it's something that we can, ride over. It's a bit bumpy, but we'll ride over it. But for those at the bottom strata financially, they're kicking off. Pretty much like that guy's kicking off. So why I've made the assumption that he's kicking off is I would say that most guys in a job, everybody argues in a relationship. Number one, if you've never argued, I don't think you've been in a relationship and you've not matured the way.
Just let me stop you in your tracks there. I mean, what's the actual point where someone can sit back and say, "I'm alright, Jack"? Because that's what you just you just outlined a critical social boundary there.
Yeah.
And that social boundary is where you're not struggling anymore because you're in a position where you're alright.
Yeah.
You can just
all right, Jack.
And I'm alright, Jack. But even in that position, you've got things to think about.
It makes one apathetic, doesn't it? Less sympathetic.
Have you been in that position?
Yeah, I have. I'm not using it necessarily now in this situation. That's why I'm analysing it with truth on both sides. And we'll get to the other truth in a minute. But I'm just analysing some of the more baser truths that we first of all face, given any situation. We go, oh, that's bad, that's good. And then you'll discern it a bit more and say, why is that good? Or why is that bad?